Welcome back to the bank account churning playlist. I know it's been a few weeks since I posted, so let's get right back into videos. I'll have a bunch more coming soon. So why is it important for churners to close their bank accounts, and how do they do this? There's a few obvious reasons why a churner would want to close their bank accounts, and one less obvious reason that's arguably the most important. The first obvious reason is that it's just less to manage to close those bank accounts if they're no longer in use, and it makes it easier for the churner to be organized when they have less accounts to deal with. The second obvious reason is that some accounts have monthly fees, and so if a churner isn't using that bank account anymore, they don't want to keep paying these monthly fees over and over again. But the third reason why churners close their bank accounts is a little more unknown, even though it's arguably the most important reason for why they close their accounts. And this third reason is that many banks allow people to get sign-up bonuses multiple times. But typically the sign-up bonus is only open to people who don't currently have an account with the bank. And in most cases, the terms specify that a sign-up bonus is only available for those who haven't had an account in a certain amount of time. So the sooner a churner can close a bank account, the sooner they can get their next bonus. So to quickly illustrate this point, here's the terms and conditions of a bank bonus with Huntington. And you can see that the terms and conditions say that in order to be eligible for the bonus, you can't have had an account open in the last 12 months. Now this is a bonus that I actually did a couple years ago, and because it's been 12 months since I closed the account, I was now able to reopen the account and get the bonus again. Now that we know why churners close their accounts, let's go into the steps they actually take to go ahead with closing the account. The first step is to make sure that the account is ready to be closed. Now obviously the churner wants to make sure that they've received the bonus for this account before they close it. They also want to make sure that the account has been open long enough to avoid early account termination fees, which sometimes applies if an account is closed after only having been open for less than 6 months or less than 3 months. And the third criteria that churners look at is making sure it's been about 6 months since the account was opened before they look into closing the account. This avoids the early account termination fees that I just mentioned, but it also just avoids the appearance of red flags to the bank and the possibility that the bank will blacklist the churner from future accounts, or the rare possibility that the bank will try to claw back the bonus if the account's only been open for a short while. But once the churner has established that the bank account is ready to be closed, there's one more step before they actually will close the account. So step 2 is transferring out money from that account. So the churner will first transfer out all the money in the account, leaving the account at a zero balance. And technically an account can be closed with a balance still in there, but it just makes it more complicated for the churner because instead of transferring the funds electronically, it often comes in the form of a check, and it just makes the process a little slower. So the churner will transfer out all the funds, and then they're ready for the final step of actually closing the account. Now typically an account can be closed one of 3 ways. The first way is by doing it in the app, and this isn't all that common, but some banks do allow people to just close the account in the app, and so this is the easiest option if it's available. The second option is the most common, and that's for the churner to call the bank and let them know that they want to close the account. Typically the bank will have to verify them and then read them certain notices, but after that's done, the account is closed either immediately or within a few days. Lastly, the third option, which is inconvenient, but luckily not usually necessary, is to go in branch to close the account. Now this can be done for any bank, but usually people will call the bank or do it in-app if they have the option because it's more convenient. However, although it's rare, there are a few banks that require people to come in branch to close the account. And so if a churner has a bank that requires that, they'll usually bring identification and go through the process in branch to close that account. So that's it. That's how churners close their bank accounts. Let's just recap the points in this video. 1. The reasons to close a bank account include it being easier to manage, not having to deal with fees, and being able to hit the churnus again if the bank permits it. 2. In order to close the account, the churner must first determine that the account is ready to be closed, then transfer out the funds, and finally close the account either in the app, by phone call, or by going in person to the branch. I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, please subscribe. I'll have more videos going over bank churning, credit card churning, and other financial topics coming soon. Have a great night.